It's no surprise to anybody in agriculture, especially here in Uganda, that the toughest thing to do is get a good market to sell your produce. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Stay tuned. I'm trying to give you some tips, what I've been doing and what's been working for me. So let's stay tuned, and I'll also be talking about the mistakes I've made. Stay tuned until the end. Hopefully you get some nuggets of wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every subscriber makes me happy and makes me want to produce more content. Quality be damned. So let's get started. Looking for market in Uganda is not that difficult. What is hard is getting the right price for your produce. So you're going to spend XYZ amount of money to produce whatever it is you have in your garden, be it cassava. As you can see now, we've got cassava here, stems, be it sweet potato, sugar cane, or whatever it is. So the hardest thing you're going to do is to get your return on investment at the market. Why? Because the market people are also trying to make a profit. So they don't care what your cost is. You are supposed to know what your cost is, and you're supposed to know what amount you're willing to negotiate up to. For them, they see a bottom line. So one of the mistakes I made recently, very recently, is looking at sweet potatoes. I harvested the whole lot of sweet potatoes. It was a bad harvest, terrible harvest, but I harvested before securing a buyer at the market. Now, for me, I use the general local markets. Why? Because they help me to improve my quality while gaining that extra money. So I keep improving on my production, quality of the produce I make, growing, and at the same time, they constantly buy. So I'm not running a loss during the education phase. What I did here was, by harvesting early, I took the negotiation out of my hands and put that power into the hands of the buyer, because once the sweet potato is out of the ground, rotting starts to go bad. So then I could not sell at the price I wanted to for a bag of sweet potato. I made a loss, complete, utter loss from sweet potato, which is fine, I guess, because as I said, it's a learning process. I don't expect to make a profit in the first season of planting any produce. That's my take on farming. If I expect to make a profit immediately after growing produce, then I'm likely to over invest and suffer terrible losses. So that being said, the next thing that I learned from the market, when you go there and you're selling, unless you know specific people and you've built a relationship with them, don't sell on credit. It's a big mistake. They find it hard to pay because they live hand to mouth. So whatever they sell, they reinvest in more produce and what they eat, right? So you have to make sure that you're getting cash for your produce at the market. Again, the reason for using market is the markets. These are normal markets you see, like Owino, like the smaller ones in every location. There's a small market. Is because you get to sell immediately. You don't use a lot of money for transport. They are willing to buy very funny quality produce and give you cash. You get quick cash. The pricing you might not get well. So you don't look at it and say, I'm going to enter and I'm going to be a millionaire, because you're not. Realistically, you're not. You're going to enter, you're going to sell, and God willing, you'll make a profit. If you time your market right, you'll make a killing. If you produce top quality stuff, you can then expand your market. But if you can't fulfill the local market, forget about export market. Please, If you can't fulfill the local market, forget about the export market. That's my little bit of advice to a lot of farmers. Another mistake that you should be avoiding is going to the market without knowing your cost to produce. What that means is how much have you spent in the garden and project how much you're expecting to harvest. It's easier for things like maize, which you harvest in one go. Things like tomatoes are a bit harder because you harvest them in stages, so you can't tell over time what your growth rate will be until you've done tomatoes for a long time. So how do I keep track of my costs? I have an Excel sheet which I'm supposed to share with you, all my subscribers, people who follow this channel. That Excel sheet is free for use. Just put in your costs, put in your income, put in your deduct your expenses, your savings, whatever, and it will keep you on balance. So it's like a balance sheet. Simple balance sheet you can use on your phone, you can use on your laptop. Once I know my cost of production, I divide it into, if it's per kilo, cost of producing 1 kilo of maize, cost of producing one bag of onions, cost of producing one box of tomatoes. And from there, I go to the market and I say, listen, it costs me 500 shillings to produce a kilo of maize. That's a non-realistic amount, but yeah, it cost me 500. So I'm expecting to make XYZ. So once I've done that, I can negotiate better and I will always be in profit. We did this for chickens, we did this for everything. We do it for everything. Once we only start selling once we know the cost of production. Finally, for things like chicken, sometimes it's better to have your own cage or your own space at the market for your own chicken instead of bringing people to your farm. What happens when you bring people to your farm to pick from your chicken cages or from your gardens? They negotiate and they make your produce look petty. They want to affect, they they tend to negotiate by telling you, listen, your chickens are too small, the quality isn't good, we can't pay you 12,000. Yet it's a 2 kg chicken, and at the market, they are going to be selling that chicken for 25,000, 30,000. So if you ask me, it's better to have your own cage. Avoid people being familiar with your farm. Deliver your produce, your chickens to your cage if you can. Deliver your produce to your market. Don't let them come to you. That's the point of this. Once they come to you, they buy the garden. For example, a garden that should be giving you 20 million, they'll negotiate it down. No, now the risk is on me, so I can only give you 10 million. Yet you've spent 8 million to get it done, right? You only make 2 million. They go, they sell the produce, and they make 20 million. Yes, you're left poor. This is why farmers, small scale especially, live hand to mouth. So let's avoid that. Let's avoid making ourselves poor because of laziness or because of a lack of transport, or those things can be figured out. Hire, work, work closely with a border guy. When your produce is ready, call the guy, he collects, he delivers to your buyer in the market. You go with him and you get your cash and you come home. Include the cost of transportation in your cost of production. That's my point. And you will be profitable. So I hope this is helpful. It went on longer than I expected. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. The more of you subscribing, hopefully the better my content becomes. And let us work together. Hopefully my tips help you small farmers figure out the business of farming. Cheers.